following content contains personal experiences of our hosts and guests. We are not experts in this matter. We encourage challenging conversations with others and to achieve healing from our childhood. We hope to connect and allow a safe space to have an open discussion. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a qualified professional, diagnosis, or treatment.
Lavender marriage, because that's a term I didn't know until fairly recently, and this film totally represented that, where that there are still families out there that don't agree with it. And so in history, lavender marriage is between, to showcase, whether it's a gay man or a lesbian woman, where they would just marry to primarily for social or legal reasons rather than romantic or sexual attraction. They would just marry for convenience to make sure like they look like traditional marriage, but really they're doing it because of, maybe just the pressures of their family or what have you. Lavender marriage. So that was what was showcased in the film between Min and Angela.
All right. Welcome back, First Gen Podcast listeners, feelers, all of you out there. Hope you guys are having a great summer so far. Staying safe. I'm one of your hosts, Nina Flores, and I'm joined here by my lovely cousin and co-host,
Tiffany Christie. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in today.
And we are so excited to discuss this amazing movie that we both saw called The Wedding Banquet.
The 2025 version. I just recently learned this was a remake. As we decide every season or every year, we do a little film review, and we chose to do The Wedding Banquet, directed by Andrew Ahn. And this was a remake from the 1993 film, directed by Ann Lee. But yeah, we are gonna talk about that film in our episode today. And also, as it's the month of June, Happy Pride.
Happy Pride! Woo!
Happy Pride! And thought it was also fitting for us to do a little review on this film.
Yeah, The Wedding Banquet. So just a quick, summary of the movie and the plot. A gay Korean man in a relationship with his boyfriend enters a green card marriage with a lesbian friend to help her finance fertility treatments. His grandmother arrives and throws an elaborate Korean wedding banquet, creating a lot of unforeseen problems, ones that surprised me, but also very entertaining. And we'll probably talk about that today. And again, directed by Andrew Ahn, who's amazing. And yeah, I would say, Tiff, common themes, right, would be like focusing on the chosen family, LGBTQ plus identities, cultural identity, all of that. And what an amazing cast, too. Bowen Yang, Lily Gladstone, Kelly Marie Tran, Joan Chen, all these amazing actors that I look up to. So I love seeing them on the screen. I love us feeling seen. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, and so stoked that we're gonna chat this through, especially when you say chosen family or just family in general. Weddings are normally what brings a lot of families together, so those dynamics do come up a lot of times. And and this film definitely showcased a lot of the complex dynamics, relationships within immigrant families and what have you. So it's pretty awesome to see this on the big screen. And and showcase for everyone to hopefully, feel connected to. So I love this rendition because it's very timely, relatable,
Yeah.
in so many aspects. So with that, if you got this far, we do want to be cautious and say, hey, this is a spoiler alert warning. We are going to dive in and talk about the film and talk about things in there. If you have not seen this film, please go see it. Go check your streaming services and see. I believe it's out streaming everywhere now at this point. So please give it a watch. And yeah, let's dive into it.
Yeah, I mean, I took notes when I was watching the movie. Just stuff that like resonated with me or stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know that feeling. I know what she's feeling.
Yeah,
So
I took notes too,
a
which is
lot
not
of
on
feelings.
here. So many
Oh, okay.
feelings.
So many feelings. Yeah, I
But
mean, there's the cultural expectations versus your personal identity. I think that's, a huge, that's like the main topic, I think, when I think about this movie, because everyone has that struggle, right? Um, I think for Angela, um, I mean, just her relationship with her mom, that was like something that's very similar to my relationship with my mom. So part of me is just like when I saw this movie, I was in tears. I cried. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. That's my mom. That's me. Um, so, and then just how her relationship with her mom is affecting her relationship with her partner. Um, yeah, so many things that I'm just like,
yeah,
yep, that's my life.
I
Anyway,
agree.
that's
I
kind of
agree
like a
with
side note. We
you.
don't have to like.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's great. I do
Okay.
I totally agree with you on, at least for all the characters. I think I resonated most with Angela as
Mm-hmm.
well. I just, even the opening sequence, I wrote down on my notes like the simmering, basically holding a little grudge, or like basically her partner, which was played by Lily Gladstone, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, be honest to me, I'm not your mom. Like
Yeah.
she
Don't treat
basically,
me
and
like your mom is what she
yeah,
said.
yeah.
Confront your feelings. I was like,
Hmm.
ooh,
I was like,
no, I don't want to
oh,
confront
that
my
hit me.
feelings.
That hit me. Yeah, and it wasn't foreign to me when Angela was going through that and just sitting in her feelings but not sharing how she
Mm-hmm.
was feeling about certain things, and Lee was just trying to help out and help her out. And it's like, if you can't tell me what's going on, how can I help you?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
And just seeing, I'm sure in the movie, like Lee can observe her interactions between her partner's mom and her partner. And essentially it's like, you're treating me the same way. Like, I'm a totally different person. I'm someone you can talk to and trust. And, with a family dynamic like that, it's like, it is hard. It's hard to break through that because that's your first relationship, is your parent,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And if your parent hasn't taught you how to express your feelings or how to feel safe to express those feelings, like how can you expect to take that to your other relationships?
Sure.
So yeah, just that opening scene where it's like you're simmering again, like her partner's calling her out, and she just, to that extent, it's like that is foreign to her. She's like, this is normal to me, like this is how I express my feelings, but she's trying to help her get out of that
Mm-hmm.
that type of behavior, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think the mom, from what we saw this in like how she is now with Angela, but I guess before obviously she wasn't very welcoming to the idea that her daughter was gay, or had a partner. But now I think she's like overcompensating for that because like
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that at her meeting or dinner she was just putting it out there, like in front of everyone. Yeah, like my daughter's gay, and like, I love her. Like, it was just a bit much, but I can see where she's like trying to make up for that. But at the end of the day, Angela, when she's eating dinner with her partner, her mom, she said something like, it's always about you, mom. Like, what's going to make you look good? And boy, do I know what that feels like, because it was the same thing growing up. Like, my mom, image was important. What will people think of our family? What will people think of my daughter and son? Um, and then when they're eating dinner, Angela was like, I hate that I have to feel grateful. I hate that I have to feel grateful. And I was like, oh, yep, I know that feeling too. And it's not like we're not, right? We are grateful, but it's just that pressure of you should be grateful, it's almost like it's an attack. And so I don't know. How did you feel about that scene?
No, I wrote about that scene too. When I was watching the film, I put honest dinner table and the conversation about grateful awards. It's I think we talked about this previously in another episode, but it's like we are an extension of our parents. Like we are their yes, we are their most prized possession. It's just like we're an extension of their identity and their accolades. It's like you need to represent the family and make sure like basically bragging rights, right? Like something that they can tell their friends like, "Hey, oh, my son or my daughter did this or my child did this." And that seems to be like their topic of conversations as they get older or become parents. It's just like, look what my kid did, and then
Yeah.
a lot of us have to strive to fit that mold, um, and become that. And that pressure, it's a lot. It's a lot to put on a child. It's like, do they really want to be doing that sport or that, academics or what have you that the parent is pushing upon them to do to just make them look good so they can talk to their other friends and family. Um, and I think what I got from that conversation in the dinner table, which I think was when I was sobbing, it's like the words of Angela where she says like as a kid she never saw me, she never seen me. Like I think at the end
Oh,
of
that's so heartbreaking.
the day, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all that a
Hmm.
child is looking for is just to be seen by their
Hmm.
parent. Like
Yeah.
these expectations that the parents have put on their kids is really for their own benefit, I guess,
Hmm.
so to speak. But is it really what the kid wants to be doing, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and there's these obligations that are pressured upon, you know, for me, again, it's just the career path that I took, and I've mentioned before in another episode, it's just like they wanted me to be this, but I didn't go that way, and I chose a different way. Um, so it was against their belief of what their expectations were, and um, and we're all growing through that. But yeah, just those words of like feeling seen by a
I know.
parent, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I heard that.
Uh-huh.
Um, But to your point also, like I don't want to knock on the mom. Like you said, she's overcompensating to celebrate, her queer daughter. It's just like it took probably some growth for her to get there, and now she's like overly um, flaunting it, which, it is great that she's
Yeah.
accepted it because I know culturally it's still frowned upon it, and
Sure.
you can see that with the
Min's
other
grandmother.
characters, yeah, with
Yeah.
Min's
Min's
grandma,
grandma.
the
Yeah.
very traditional mindset. Basically,
Yeah.
Min's grandfather. Like, I think Min's grandmother, we find out along the way,
Yeah.
she's more accepting of it, and she was really just trying to protect her
Protect
grandson
him. Yeah.
from her husband,
Hmm.
which the grandfather, had a more traditional outlook of what it's family business too. The
Mm-hmm.
optics of that, making sure,
Yeah.
the business looks good, and obviously Min loves his lifestyle, so he doesn't want to lose that lifestyle because of his, sexual orientation. Um, and that's why I think this whole movie was just so great. It's like a lot of wins. There's so many wins. Like everyone would get something out of this agreement, but the whole movie you get to see how there's a lot of pitfalls along that, that very thought out plan that they were going through goes totally askew by the end of it, which I think this was a fun journey to watch. All the characters involved. I guess we should talk about their living dynamics too, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, kind of
Yeah.
just going back to what you said earlier, like the expectation of like, your career path. I mean, we saw that with Min and his grandma, right? Like she expected him to take over the family business. She expected him to marry a woman and have this elaborate wedding. I mean, that's why they had to do this wedding, was for show, to save the family business, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I think for him, just the battle between him and his partner too, because he proposed to his partner, and his partner thought, was like, no, you just want a green card. Like, I just felt so bad for him. I was like, man, I'm feeling for you, because he was just like, I love this man. I'm trying to make my grandma happy, but what do I do? And he comes up with this brilliant plan, which again, it all goes askew, but I think it works out in the end. And we can talk about the ending later, but yeah, it's a beautiful journey for all the characters. But yeah, let's dive into what were you going to say, Tiff?
I wanted to go back to what you just said about the green card,
Mm,
because I wrote something about that too, with the green card and the guilt trip that Min put on his partner for the green card. It
mm.
was basically like, oh, I thought you were going to say yes. Um, and it didn't go his way, so he kind of threw sort of a fit about it. And hence, I guess all the partners were separated at that night and that evening. And but yeah, I was like, there's the guilt trip. You expecting all things can be solved by this marriage arrangement for everybody. Which again, in the beginning, very brilliantly thought out. I was like, yeah, this is again win-win for so many people that can get through their life, hopefully not without any problems, but there's some hiccups along the way that came up, so it
Yep.
wasn't as flawless of a plan as they thought.
I sort of I love how the grandma was like like she just knew Min's plan. Like she was like calling
Oh
bullshit.
yeah, she's so smart.
She's so smart.
I
It
was like,
sort of surprised me though. I was like, okay, okay. But yeah, she
yeah,
called
no,
bullshit. She's like, there's no way you're having sex with this woman. There's no I'm like, damn, okay.
yeah,
Um
so smart. So that was pretty funny too. It caught me aback as well, because I was like, how long are they gonna put, because it happened so early in the film that I was
yeah.
like, wait a minute, I thought the whole thing was trying to trick the grandma, but she clearly knew what was going
She already
on.
knew what was going
Like the
on.
moment she showed up to their
Yeah.
house, and
She knew.
she knew.
Grandmas and
Grandma
moms
knew.
always know.
Yeah, I know. Grandma knew. And again, the expectations of, the next generation was like, he thought he could fool grandma. And it was also nice to hear that grandma already knew his sexual orientation, that she was like, hey, I'm here, I'm on your side,
Yeah.
let's, like, she's like, double down, like, let's do this wedding. Like you
Mhm.
said, let's do this wedding, and make it all covered up and make sure it looks all good for the papers and what have you. Newspapers, making sure it looks good for the newspapers and the news, just to prove to grandpa, like, this is legit. you know?
Yeah.
And so that's nice that Min wasn't fully alone through that process. Like he's got his grandma as a
Mhm.
support line.
Yeah. And I, you know, as when in the beginning of the film, I was like, oh man, she comes in with this no smile on her face. I'm like, oh man, do I know? Do I know?
Stern.
Yeah. But no, it was so beautiful at the end when she started to kind of open up and she said to Min, I always thought I could protect you with money after your parents died, but what you needed was a family. And I thought that was just so beautiful. It pulled on my heartstrings. And it's true, right? Like, it's great to be successful and have money, but at the end of the day, children need their family. And I think it was a significant turning point, not just for Min, but for her character, to really just show that side of herself. So, yeah. Yeah. I love Grandma
Yep.
at the end. I loved her.
Yes, team grandma. And a little note I wrote here on myself too. I said tearjerker. The fact that grandma said like the wedding this wedding is my wedding gift to you, to Min, was,
Mm.
just seeing the growth of, again, the character and the generational growth, because having a grandmother or that generation to be like, I support you in your love
Mm-hmm.
is so heartwarming to see. Because yeah, again, there's very traditional aspects of same-sex marriage, but with that, the grandma was like so open and
Yeah.
accepting of it, when we thought the whole time was like, oh, she's not gonna, oh
Right.
no, she's in the traditional boat as
Yeah.
well.
I
But
think
that's
that
how
was her
much.
struggle too. Her struggle was that, she is more accepting, but she was put into this traditional marriage. I think maybe at one point, and we can research this just to make sure it's true. I think at one point she was talking about love, and I think she just married the grandfather or her husband just because it was like it was expected. I don't even know if she really loved him. Because that same scene at the end or towards the end where she's talking to Min, I think, yeah, she says something like, I wish for you to do what you want, and I wish for you to love who you love, because I couldn't do that. So let's look that up though, Tiff, because I think that's like what she said. But I think that was her internal battle. It's like she was stuck in the traditional ways, but she has a heart that's more accepting and open. But she too has to answer to her husband, So beautiful journey for her, just the way she evolved in that 3-week period of all this madness. Um, I think that was a big theme for this movie, is just everyone evolving. We're all evolving, right?
Mhm.
Even Angela's mom. Um, I love that scene where I know I'm a little all over the place, but I love that scene where they're in the bathroom and she tells Angela, I learned so much from you.
Yep.
It's just, yeah.
I
It was,
I had that I had that same thought. I think the bathroom moment, the
oh,
moment
yeah.
where Angela realized she was pregnant, I thought that was so touching to
Yeah.
see, again, the growth of the mom. I really liked those two characters together because,
Mm-hmm.
again, I think everything that Angela wanted finally came to fruition towards the end. It's like she
Yeah.
finally had her mom see her and
Yeah.
understand her. And I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of times motherhood opens that door for, a lot of people, and I'm speaking for myself as well. It's just like it opens doors where now the mom was able to have a heart to heart with her own daughter. Um, and I think what I wrote down was like basically leaving it to Angela instead of the pressure that the mom was giving. It's like if that's what you want, you know, then go for it. And like the miracle mess, I think that was the term that she used. We're a
Yes.
miracle mess.
Yeah.
That was the pep talk that her mom gave her and was very supportive. And that I was like, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful story arc of the characters coming together. And Angela wasn't alone, because I think at this point she was not talking to her partner. So it's like now she still had her mom's love and support through all of this, and the compassion that the mom showed, because like she's still learning to be a mom.
Right.
I think any parent is still learning to be a parent, because there is no guidebook for that, and there's so many different ways to parent. But with that, Angela's mom was still learning through her own daughter and how to become a better mom. And I think slowly that both those characters were able to grow and get past, the struggles of Angela's childhood, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like her mom's making up for it later on.
And sure, I mean, I think you bring up a great point. I'm not a parent, but I think parents are still learning. So we need to be compassionate towards our parents too. I try to be with my mom. Even now, there's little things and I'm like, but I think everyone is still learning. And that's why I love this film, was that just all the characters, everything they're struggling with, sadly, like, we come across obstacles and the only thing we can do is respond with what we've experienced in the past and what we know. And sometimes it takes a miracle mess, right? To help us see something that we didn't see before. So we gotta like kind of it changes our perspective. We have to change our perspective sometimes. Which I'm trying to do in my life. It's like, okay, here's an obstacle, but what is it trying to teach me? Who's around me that I can lean on to help me understand? So I think that's like a lesson, that or something that I got out of this film.
Yeah, and I know for me, like I was able to see a lot of this film. Like I really loved the sense of community it brought,
Yeah.
and support line, like supportive chosen family, supportive. It's basically a teamwork. It's a team effort and / village, and spoiler alert, towards the end of the film, it's like they all become a full house, a full house, full of love, family. And I love that everything, everything worked out in the end, as much as it wasn't easy to get there. And obviously having a house now with 2 babies instead of 1 baby, it did take team effort and a village to bring everyone together, and that love and support that, hey, none of us are good enough just solo or alone. Like it took the whole team, the whole friendship to come together, and they all became such an awesome family living in that house. So I thought it was great. No, all of the arcs on all the characters, it was so cool to see everyone intertwine and see the growth. And, at the very end, basically Bowen Yang's character, Min and Chris ended up tying the knot. And that was so beautiful to see, like, as well. So I think for just seeing all the different characters and the different routes they took to get to where they were, it was so cool to see a story like that on the big screen, for the representation of the LGBTQ plus community. It was, I was like, yes to that. It was beautiful.
So refreshing to see.
Love is love.
Yes.
Love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love, and love is loud. So you can't hold back on love. It's so strong.
I mean, the only thing I wanted to bring up, what was that character's name? Chris's cousin or
The
something?
cousin. Yeah,
You
Chris's
know,
cousin,
is it
Kendall?
here? Okay, so Kendall, yeah, what Kendall said to Chris too, I guess at one point they were struggling and he said, "You're gonna make a great father.
Yeah.
Um, because you were so good to me." I don't know, I just want to bring that up. I just thought that was
Yeah,
beautiful.
no. It
Because
is
like it's
beautiful
not, he's not a parent, but he was a parent
to someone else,
figure,
to a
yeah,
friend.
to
Yeah,
somebody
to
else.
a
Yeah.
cousin, to a family member. It's like
So
you look out for each other, you know, and you're caring and kind. It's just like you looked out. You looked out. Family was there for each other.
how does this film contribute to global LGBTQ plus and Asian cinema? Did it authenticity and stereotypes of the film challenge or fault? I mean, yeah, a lot of stereotypes, I think, um, in this film.
I mean, they chose was it Portland or Seattle? Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah, they picked the Northwest, and same-sex marriage is legal there.
Yep. But I mean, all these stereotypes of Asian expectations in family, like that was definitely in the movie.
I thought it was funny during the marriage ceremony between Min and Angela, where they do the chestnuts.
Oh,
The
yes.
chestnut, yeah. Basically, during the ceremony, they do I think the Korean dates and chestnuts, and where that shows it symbolizes like the
How many
couple's future and
yeah.
children.
How many kids they're supposed to have?
Yeah, like they throw it, and
And then they're
it's
like, how do you know which is a boy or girl? Or
right, and they're like, no one knew, but here we are. I kind of looked it up. Dates are often associated with daughters, while chestnuts are associated with sons. But yeah, it was cool to see a traditional wedding also up on
yeah.
on
Yeah.
the big screen. So it was good to see that cultural aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. I love that.
But that's how old the tradition was, because no one really understood
No one
why
knew.
they did it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, question for our audience and our listeners. What film have you seen recently that resonated with you and helped you feel seen? Yeah, just DM us and let us know.
Okay, I could close
Also,
it.
what a funny movie. I know, I feel like we talked about the serious stuff, but no, there's so much humor in this
Yes, we
movie.
need
So
to.
funny. Love.
It was a roller coaster. It was a roller
Yeah.
coaster ride of emotions, and was totally engaged, laughing, crying, with everybody. It was so nice to see just the dynamics between the friends, and yeah, but like again, they did a really great job to make it very contemporary and modern in modern
Yeah,
day dynamics, and good laughs. There were a lot of good laughs in there.
definitely.
And to close it all off, thank you for tuning in on another episode of the First Generation podcast. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you to our listeners, First Gen Feelers. Give us a like, subscribe, give us a comment on our social media, and also on Spotify. There you can totally leave comments now on Spotify. And yeah, let's talk about it, please. Let's keep talking. Let's keep
Let's
chatting.
talk about it. Yeah.
Don't hide it in. Don't let it simmer. Just freaking talk about it with someone that can have that open ear. And hopefully, yeah, at the end of the day, just feel seen. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Find a good friend, find a good family member. And Nina, you're one of the close family members that I can talk to. So
Aw,
anything.
same
So
with
yeah,
you.
find the person that you can talk to. So let's talk about it. Yeah, hit us up. We're on Instagram, also YouTube, and streaming first on Spotify. So thank you for listening. We
Thank
will
you. See you
catch you
next
on the next
time.
one. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Bye.